Welcome back to the dungeon. In today's episode, we're going to go through the layout process of the knife. We've talked design previously, we've talked about shaping and kind of the whole 9 yards, but today we're actually going to put layout to steel. Then we're going to move back into the grinding room to give you an introduction into some of the tools and techniques that we're going to use to take this piece of steel all the way to a fully functioning knife. And now, we move to the workbench. The knife in this series is going to be made out of 1095 steel. Now we chose 1095 for a couple of reasons. First being ease of machinability on our end. We don't have to use a death wheel on like a grinder or anything like that. We can use the portaband. It's easy to cut out, this being a stock removal knife. Next is user maintenance. 1095 is great for a home user, a professional cook, anything like that, because the edge that we put on when it goes out the door is going to be stupid sharp. But it's very easy to maintain with a little bit of work. It will eventually become dull, but you don't necessarily have to send it back to us to get that edge put back on. Okay? We have a couple of templates laid out here that are going to aid in our design. These are a standard starting point. Okay? The handles are left a little bit thick, the profile's off just a little bit so that we can come in and tweak it and make it unique. My second template here is drilled for brass bolsters. It adds a lot of flair, but it isn't necessary. So for this, customer has actually chosen a 3-pin standard handle design. So that's what we're going to go with. Now, we're going to go and talk about some of the tools that we're going to use once we get our layout done. Here's a quick break to the grinding room. All right, we're going to take a little break. I'm going to sip some coffee, and we're going to talk about the grinding room. Okay, first things first. Grinding room, you say, Chaco. It seems open on one side. How can it be a room? Typically, this nice medium weight plastic covers the whole front. We've removed it for better view inside. Okay, when the front is closed, these box fans mounted on either side do their best to filter the air. In most cases, it just ends up laying on the floor in here or coating all of the equipment. First up, we have our 2x48 belt grinder. Difference being this is designed specifically for metal. This bad boy eats. Okay? Unfortunately, it will be replaced very soon as our primary grinder. Not retired, just moved over. Next, we have our beautiful Wen bandsaw. I say beautiful because I am forever the optimist. It is sufficient. I have already found its limits and will adjust accordingly. Next we have the portaband. The portaband is specifically designed for metal. We have used it outside of its carriage, but for now it lives here on a foot pedal actuation for cutting out some of the shapes. Spindle sander. I have a love-hate relationship with this thing because you end up using about that much of the material to death, and then all of the rest of this is good. So, again, love-hate. Unfortunately, it will be replaced soon, so it goes on the shelf. This is a drill press. Need I say more? Fan favorite, Franken grinder. This was the standard Harbor Freight 4x36 grinder. We put a Jiffy Conversions arm on it. Now it runs 2x48 motor. It's got one. It's not factory. We burned that bad boy up. This got pulled out of something else. It's bigger, it's better. Oh, it's a grinder. Okay? This thing is used primarily for sharpening, but recently we removed the platen to get a little bit of contour sanding ability out of it. Finally, we have the Fakedom. That's right, it is a fake Fordham. It works great for cleaning out holes. Think of it as a Dremel on steroids. I love this little guy. All right, now we're going back to the bench. All right, so here we have our blank of 1095. Okay, bar stock, properly milled, ready to go. This is our template, also made out of 1095, but kept as a template. Okay, in this case, The holes are already drilled to where our standard pins will go, and the blade is to the rough shape that we want to keep. We may add some flourishes, maybe some spine work. I'll have to talk to the customer. In any case, we are just going to transfer this to the blank. But how? First, you take a scribe with a little piece of tungsten right here at the tip, which means it will dig through most of your materials and scribe a very nice line. But Chaco, however, will you see? Blue Dicum.
Blue Dicum!
Blue Dicum is a nice layout fluid that has a gorgeous finish. And you know what we're going to do? We're going to go to Chaco in the grinding room to describe why Blue Dicum. Blue Dicum is a layout fluid. In our case, we use it with a brush, but it also has an aerosol application and a pen. It's more chemically resistant than Sharpies, specifically when you're using coolant, WD-40, things like that. It is also the perfect product when you just want to yell something like, Blue Dicum! It comes in a glorious can with a self-contained brush, and as you can plainly see, makes a hell of a mess, so it fits in perfectly in the DTM workshop. That's Blue Dicum. That's why we use it. Back to the workbench. Thank you very much, Chaco. So, we have our template. We're going to talk about this very briefly and some of the reasons why the template is the way it is. Okay? The template features a very nice 8-inch blade. Okay? It's a chef's knife. We carry the belly a little bit forward for a nice rocking motion. Okay? The handle is intentionally left thick at this point, specifically because we tailor it to the user's hand. This is a question that I do ask in the process. Okay? 3 pins evenly distribute the clamping force on the material that goes through. We actually peen the ends over a little bit before shaping and at the time of glue up so that the handle is held in pretty nice. Okay? We also keep a nice sharp edge here for a nice stop. Okay? We don't want hands sliding forward onto a very sharp edge as this will ship with. Now we go to the scribing portion. Okay? We lay it down specifically so that there is a little bit of excess on all edges. No 2 knives that come out of here are the same, and this is the reason we want to make it unique. Okay. Tungsten scribe, as mentioned earlier. Yep, you're just going to watch me trace. Try and keep that noise to a minimum. Okay. And at this point, we're going to go ahead and put the circle of the cross pins in. Okay? And now we're ready. Next step, Chaco on the portaband. And now we're going to take our freshly laid out steel and we're going to get a knife blank shaped out of this. We're going to use my favorite tool here in the shop for portaband, because let's be honest, this thing eats almost as much as that grinder. Ready? If you have headphones, is it going to get a little bit noisy? You're going to have to wait until episode 3 to see that while I get this sorted. Thanks for watching.
Go.
Scene 4, episode 2, take 4. I don't think I need that level of violence. Episode 2.
Sorry, I wasn't ready.
Scene 3, episode 2, take 5.
Okay.